Hi, welcome. So we are doing this a little bit more casual than usual, more vlog style, because it's going to be a decorating with me. And we're going to finally start putting up our decorations. I always wait until after Maybon, which is usually the end of September because we celebrate the fall harvest, and I have altar space for that where I put out fall stuff like pine cones and wheat and stuff like that, and then acorns. And so I always wait until after Maybon before I start decorating. And Maybon was yesterday, so I am going to start decorating. I'm going to leave up some of the fall harvest stuff still because I feel like in order to celebrate it fully, I like to leave it up for like a week or two. So I will be doing a decorating with me. We're going to leave out some of the fall harvest stuff, so it probably won't be complete. It will just be most of it. But yeah, if that sounds interesting to you guys, we're going to go ahead and get started on that. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and consider subscribing because I would appreciate all of you being here. And I'm still working on my intros. So we are going to decorate. So come on, witches. Let's decorate my witch hut. Do you like all my plants? I have over 30 of them. All right, well, let's get into it. Okay, so this is the space we're going to be decorating. You can tell it is pretty messy. This is all of the fall harvest things. And there's stuff scattered everywhere, so we're going to have to clean that up. And then we're also going to be decorating the coffee table here, the chair, and the couch. So this is kind of our living area. We're open concept. So the kitchen is right behind us. It's not divided, but this is the living area that we are going to be decorating today, just so that you guys have a clear idea of what's going on. So let's go ahead and get started with that. I don't have a fireplace mantle, so I decorate the top of the TV stand kind of like a mantle, which is something that I like doing. But let's go ahead and clean up this mess, shall we? This is real life Anchora right here. Real life mess. These are all my witch boots. Okay, let's get started. I'm switching over to voiceover here. I first need to clean up this mess here. Now, honestly, these boots should probably go into my closet, but I just really like looking at them, so that's why they're by my TV stand. So if you're wondering why I have shoes in my living room, that is why. I just really love my witch boots, and I like looking at them. So I leave them in the living room where I can look at them, especially since I don't go anywhere much anymore these days with the events of the last couple years. There hasn't really been a reason to wear them, so I now use them as decoration, which is so sad. But yeah, you can see my cats are getting really curious here. They hate the vacuum. I had to vacuum up some leaves from my fern. It drops leaves all the time. If you guys have any advice on how to keep it happy and healthy, I would love to hear about it down in the comments. I'm just having a really hard time with that in particular. The fern is a bit picky, and I feel like it is dropping its leaves all of the time. So if you have any advice on how to keep him alive, that would be wonderful. Just let me know down below. But here I am I'm cleaning, or wow, that was a weird sentence. Here I am just cleaning off the altar space. So this is the main altar that we use for the entire house. I change it based on seasons, or if I feel like there's something going on. If I feel like maybe my son is having a hard time at school, I'll set up an altar for confidence for him, or just maybe something to help him out with stress. If I feel like Mr. Rose is struggling, I will set something up for him as well. Or if I'm struggling, or I set it up for something for all of us. Like if there's a lot of fighting and arguing going on, I will set up a love altar. This is just something I feel like really helps the family out. I do also like to use it for the holidays. And so the last holiday that we just had was Maybon, which was September 22nd, which I mentioned earlier in the video. So we just had to clean that off. We had it with like pine cones and fall colored things, and also a few flowers because it was the end of summer. Yeah, so we're just cleaning that off. And then that lamp is just like a Himalayan salt lamp. It has little pieces of salt in there so I can switch them out. And then just always clean off with lemon. That's a really good practice for witches. We love to clean with a lemon. It is a very spiritual scent and it helps clear the air as well as the item that you're working on. So I always use that for my altar, and I spray it down with this spray that is lemon and eucalyptus oil. Nothing super fancy. But yeah. And then here I'm just going through my buckets. I'm trying to figure out where everything is, because even though I made a video about what's in all these buckets, I did not organize it. So it is kind of a mess. So it took me a while to find this cloth. I always lay down these cloths underneath all of the decorations to protect the TV stand, because I do use actual candles. So if the wax melts or anything, it gets on the cloth instead of on the TV stand, and the cloth is a lot easier to replace. So I am just going through some of my items. There's a lot of new things that I bought this year, especially for this altar setup. I was very excited with my idea with this cauldron that I got here. Now, looking at this video now, I can definitely tell that is not centered, but when I was looking at it from the top, I thought the cauldron was in the middle. So yeah. And then these spooky trees I got this year as well. I didn't have any spooky trees before, so it's actually my first time getting some. And then these candles that are halfway melted are actually from last year's altar. They did melt down towards each other. I explained that in the skeletons in my closet video, which I can link up here for you guys. But I decided to use it again, and then I just put the wax back facing towards each other, and then I set it up kind of the same in hopes that it would continue to melt towards each other, blah, 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 blah. Tongue twister. So it would continue to melt towards each other. And then I got a bunch of these potion bottles this year. All the skull ones came from At Home. The other ones came from Michael's, except for that blue unicorn horn one. That came from At Home too, but those are all from this year. So my idea here is I wanted to do like a witch's, like Halloween sort of altar, like the way you would see a witch's altar in Halloween movies, or, you know, and cartoons, with all the potion bottles and the weird little knickknacks and the skulls and the animals and stuff on it. So that was what I was going with here. I did try to use these eye candle holders that I got from At Home, but I didn't really like them. I thought they looked kind of weird and out of place. So I ended up taking those off. And then I tried using these LED candles, and later on I ended up taking them off too, because it just felt out of place. This altar is usually a usable place, and so when I got into too much of the decorative items, it started to feel really weird, and it just wasn't a good mix. So I did a lot of fidgeting here. I couldn't put the candles next to the cauldron because they were too tall. It's blocking to the TV, so I ended up moving those over to the side. And then, yeah, I just started putting some things in. I tried to add to these animals, but they didn't really fit. I also tried to add these pumpkins, but it just didn't really go with a theme that I was going for. They kind of seemed out of place too. I just really couldn't decide. I was trying to figure out exactly how I wanted this to look, because I had an idea. I wanted it to be a lot like your typical Halloween and witchy kind of a cauldron setup, but I just didn't like how, I don't know, artificial it was. Is that a good phrase for artificial? Because it was just nothing but decorative. It was no longer a usable altar. It was just nothing but decorations. And so that felt really odd and out of place. So I actually ended up deciding that, since I do typically use it as an altar, that we would mix the witchy sort of Halloween look with a typical like real life witch kind of an altar. And so I took off all of the fake LED candles and some of the other knickknacks I didn't really feel like fit in. I did try to add in my spell books. Like, these are books that I actually use, but they didn't really fit either. I ended up using those on the coffee table later. But then I started putting back all of my actual altar stuff. So the candles that I have been using, and then some of my crystals and salts, and then also making sure that it's balanced. Now, since this is a usable altar space, we need to make sure that there's balance on both sides just so that the energy flows freely through the whole thing and it doesn't get stuck on one side or have more on one side than the other. Balance is very important when it comes to witchcraft. Um, but I also have these candles here that say Virgo and Aries because that is me and my partner. And then I have another one for my son that I actually put inside the cauldron because it is in the middle, so he's directly between us. And then that's how I incorporate the energy for a family altar. And then I put my selenite in here along with my little candle here. Yeah, and then it just started feeling a lot better, especially with these selenite towers. I absolutely love those. I have selenite all over the house. It's one of my favorite cleansing crystals, and it just helps create a very protective barrier. But then I started mixing that with the Halloween decoration so we can get a little bit of both worlds because I still wanted that witchy vibe with the potions and the cauldron and everything fun. And then I tried to put these hands on here. If you didn't see me make these hands, I'll link that video up here too. And I thought it would be funny to put them on the cauldron as if they were mixing it up, but I was afraid that they were going to break, so I didn't end up actually using those. And then also with a working altar, we have to make sure that we have all of the elements. So those feathers are actually there for the element of air. I always use those. They're not really part of the Halloween decoration, but I feel like they fit in pretty well. And then that helped me feel a lot more comfortable with what was going on with the space. Yeah, so I started putting things on here. Then it was starting to feel really crowded. I was putting too many things too close together, like some weird little clusters. So I started moving them around. I am so sorry, the camera angle on this. I can't believe I just stood right in front of the camera. I am definitely still working on that. And then I put in these fake crystal cluster here that I got from at home. I later take that off because it just felt really weird. There's a lot of it is just pure feeling, like how does the energy feel, and that's how I decide where I'm going to put stuff on my altar space. But yeah, sorry, that was a lot of like witchcrafty stuff when it's supposed to be Halloween decorating. But that is my life, so that would make a lot of sense. As I'm decorating, I think about the energy and the space and the flow and exactly how it is going to be used. And then I added these black candles to the back. I always love to use the black candles. They're really good for grounding and protection as well. And having them on your main altar just helps keep the whole family grounded so that we don't have as many confrontations. I would say would be a good way to describe that. And then there's Mr. Rose. He really loves to help me with this. And then I added in our traditional offering bowl. It didn't really look like it belonged, so I ended up just putting that off to the side for now. That's usually the bowl that we have in the center where the cauldron is, and we offer up things to the deities that we like to work with. So here is what I had come to. It still feels a little bit crowded, so I end up moving some stuff later on, taking it off the altar, but so far I really, really like the way that it looks. And then here I'm just placing things in front of the TV stand to help tie it all together. I just got these decorations this year, so the pumpkins are new. The Venus flytrap guy is new. I absolutely love him. I got that at Michael's. And then I added a couple other things. I think for next year, I want to get some lanterns to go in front of the TV stand because I didn't have a whole lot of larger items. A lot of my decorations are pretty small. So I just kind of put the items where I felt that they belonged. And then, of course, Mr. Rose, you see him in here because he really enjoys helping me with the decorations. And it is a lot of fun. And then I ended up using the LED candles for the floor just so that we can still have that candle vibe. And then that gives me more of a purpose for the cosmetic candles since I did not feel comfortable with them on my working altar space. It just felt weird and yeah. So we're just going to move on to the coffee table. Now it ended up being really messy because I placed everything here while I was working on the TV stand. So I had to clean it all off and then all the wrappers and stuff from the new decorations that I had gotten this year. If you want to see anything new on any of the new items that I did purchase this year, they are all with my haunting videos. You can see those over on my channel. But yeah, so we just clean this off. I'm using that same lemon and eucalyptus spray. It's just really good for cleansing spaces and then cleansing objects as well. And this coffee table is really old. We actually got it from a friend when we first moved into this place. I do want to paint it at some point because the brown I feel like doesn't really match that well, but neither does my brown TV stand. So yeah. And then I started placing some items on the top of it. This psychic ball, tarot card ball, what do they call it? Fortune teller reading crystal ball. That's what it was. It was crystal ball. Oh my gosh. The crystal ball I got from Spirit last year. I do have an actual crystal ball, but I don't want to risk it breaking. So I use this one that I got from Spirit last year. I think I talked about the crystal ball situation in another video. But then I just started placing like some candles around, and then I have those cute little LED pumpkin candles, which I was completely fine using on the coffee table because that is not a working energy space. It's just purely decoration. And then I put in some of my real crystals, so the amethyst, the fluorite, and then the selenite. They're all favorites in our house. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get started on this couch. This is an IKEA couch. I purchased it used, and it came with 2 different couch covers. So I use this black and white leaf one over the spring and summer months, and then I switch it to a black one for Halloween and winter months. So like the Halloween decorations and Christmas and stuff like that. So we got to pull it off. It looks really gross underneath, but good thing it has a cover. And then it's getting really worn down. We've been thinking about getting a new couch. It's definitely getting worn out. But yeah, we're just trying to figure out how this cover goes on here. Our little kitten, Sage, she's only a year old, and she's just so rambunctious sometimes. She kept climbing underneath the cover, so we couldn't really get it on there. Eventually, I did have to move her to the bathroom just so that she wasn't in the way. This doesn't bother her, so please no one freak out on me. She does not freak out when I put her in the bathroom like that. She really doesn't mind. Like, their litter boxes are in there and everything. But it's just to keep her out of the way so she doesn't get hurt when we're trying to put the new couch cover on. And then my son loves to help with this. It's definitely not really a 3-person job, but the whole family likes to work on it together, which is super fun. And then it just has some Velcro around the edges to make sure that it stays in place and doesn't move around a whole lot. So that is how we Halloweenify our couch. We switch the cover on it. And it is really tiny. We also need a bigger couch. I had purchased this a long time ago when I used to live by myself. So I purchased it with only me in mind, and now there's 3 of us. That tells you how old it is. But yeah, and then I just have this blanket that has like this fur texture on it. There's our little kitten again. She's always so curious. Sometimes I have to move her out of the way just so I can put things down. And then I just have some of these Halloween pillows. They're just collections from the last few years. That trick or treat pillow that is double-sided I actually got this year from Target. So that is one that you can look at. And then the pumpkin is from At Home. And then the checkered pumpkin one is from Walmart last year. I think they re-released those. I'm not really sure. I haven't seen them in my location yet, but I've seen other people posting about them. And then these succulent flower pillows were made by a friend of mine. But yeah, here is the altar space. You can see that I moved a few more things around, and I really like it for the most part. It does feel a little bit crowded still, so I may remove a few more items, but it definitely looks like a witch's altar. I like all the potion bottles, the skulls, crystals, and then you have the animals on here, and the spooky trees and the candles, and yeah, I think it looks really nice, and I really like it. And it was all inspired by this cauldron that I got from At Home. this year. And then that cauldron is ceramic, so I put a candle inside of it. It will be safe. It's not gonna light on fire or anything. And yeah, we've got the mushroom guy in here. We've got some crystals, some geodes, and then the pie cones are from Maybon. We'll probably keep those out until winter comes, and then I'll return them to the forest where I got them from, because that's also part of our ritual here at home. And then this is the section in front of the TV stand. I just did a couple of candles and then the pumpkins. And then here is the coffee table. We have the stack of spell books, a crystal ball, some pumpkins, skulls, and candles. And then the cloth underneath it is a spider web that I got from at home, I think, this year. But I really like how it is circular, so it matches the oval table a lot better. And then here's the crystals that I added on as well. And yeah, I just feel like overall it matches the theme. It definitely goes with the TV stand. And then over here on the couch, we have a few of the pumpkin pillows. The fur, I feel like, pulls in the witchy vibes. And then the succulent pillows as well. But I really like the black couch cover too. And then here is the whole look all together. It is a little mismatchy with the different brown furniture, but honestly, it's a work in progress, right? And then there's my witch boots. I set them out as decorations nowadays, as I was explaining a little bit earlier. But that is the living room decorations. And here it is all lit up at night with all of the candles going. I think it's beautiful. I absolutely love it, and I feel like we did a really good job with it. So thank you guys so much for joining me today, and I hope that you enjoyed this video as much as I have, and I will see you next time. I think our next video is going to be a DIY, so make sure you stay tuned, and please consider subscribing because I would love to see you join our community, and let me know who you are down below. But until next time, keep on spooking, all you ghouls and spookaneers. Bye.